This is the BK Lounge Podcast. Welcome to laughs, love, and crazy debates by your two favorite hosts, Burt and Kenny. Join us in talks about military life, relationships, golf life, and so much more. Your new favorite place to come hang out on Sundays. Introducing the BK Lounge Podcast, a Burt's Beat Studios production. And now your hosts, Burt and Kenny.
Hello?
That's weird.
Hello?
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, everyone?
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Episode 8.
8.
Almost at double digits.
We're close to the double dig. We're almost teenagers.
Oh,
Whoa.
maybe.
Whoa.
It is kind of crazy to think.
That in hindsight, we've been doing it for 2 months. We've been doing it a little bit more than 2 months because...
We did skip, 1 week?
We skipped 1 week.
1 week.
So...
That's 2 months of this.
Yeah.
That's pretty gnarly.
Are you guys sick of us yet?
Yeah, you guys completely over the BK Lounge and just show up because...
You feel obligated?
Yeah.
It's... I mean... Hey.
Might not be some people's, what do you call it? Niche.
Niche.
Why are you saying it so many times?
Niche.
Niche.
I don't know. It's sounding weird in these ears right here. What's going on? We're going casual. I think that's like our new thing.
New thing?
Granted, this is what we look like when we walk around our house all day long.
Yeah. We're pretty cash most of the time.
We're very cash. We go for comfort.
Comfort, not style, because I have zero style. Kenny, on the other hand, can dress nice in just about anything. I just look semi-homeless when I'm cash and comfy. Facts.
Yeah. I have to dress up for work. I have to wear golf clothes, a little bit nicer clothes. But as soon as I walk through that front door, it's like, hey, everyone, let me go put my sweats on. Then you all can talk to me.
Right. Yep.
But yeah.
It's true. But episode 8, beat you to it. Why don't you give us a little recap of episode 7?
Episode 7. We talked about our New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
What we think of New Year's resolutions. We both are on the same page that we think that resolutions, we support anybody that needs it.
Yep.
But I think the New Year, New Me statement, fraudulent.
Yep. Cop out.
I think that we are on the same page with that. Is like, no, it's the same you. You're in the difference of one day versus the next. You don't need the new day and a new date to be better.
Right. Just be better when you want to be better.
Yeah.
Because if you're not fully believing it and you're just saying it for the new year, it ain't going to happen.
And like my whole example was dry January. People that aren't boozing.
Right.
In January. Like, power to you. If you need it, you need it. But like February 1st hits and then like, what are you getting smashed?
Right.
It's just
like...
like...
I mean, but, like, what does 1 month of not drinking do?
Like, it does help your body, especially if it's either an issue or you abuse the fact that you have the right to drink.
Right. Because I think of, like, how frequently we don't drink. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we do dry January, what? We miss out on maybe 6 drinks a month?
Yeah. We're not booze bags.
No, not anymore. We used to be.
Yeah, we used to be.
We used to be boozers. Not really boozers, but we used to drink more. Yeah.
Yeah. Together, separately.
Yep.
We did it a lot. But yeah, no, we talked about resolutions. We talked about...
We just guys completely sidetracked it.
Yeah, about boozing.
Boozing.
Just thinking about boozing.
Thinking about boozing, I guess. Sunday night booze?
You got booze in that cup?
No booze. Water.
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 I have water and I have a body armor.
I tried one of those. Not that great.
Because you're looking for like a Gatorade. He has a sweet tooth. It's more of like a fruity electrolyte drink, which is not meant to be like...
Right, and I also am not a peach or real mango fan either, so I think if it was a different flavor, I might actually enjoy it.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. But no, so the New Year's resolution. And we talked about just that and how the Burt's Beat brand is always about being good. And we talked about what that means to us and some circumstances where we've been witness to people around us that aren't.
Right.
As well as even ourselves where we think that we can be better. Even last night, which was crazy, and I came home and I was like, you won't believe what just happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
This very angry old Russian man at Harris Teeter down the road from our house literally called me uneducated, and I'm just trying to buy groceries to make dinner for us because we just got back from traveling. And I'm just standing there because he was angry about his tomatoes.
It was like a tomato and a pear, you said, right?
It was 2 tomatoes and 2 pears, and he was mad because one was over the pound weight, so it increased the price.
It cost it more.
Yeah.
Cost him more, and then he had taxes or whatever.
He didn't understand taxes, and he didn't understand that his tomatoes weighed more than 1 pound.
So he went in there thinking he was going to spend $3, and it was really $5.
Yeah.
And he was losing his mind over the $2 difference.
Yes.
And went, like, person to person in the line.
No.
Just you.
Just me.
Just you, and asked you, simple math, you didn't buy into it. Because you're just trying to buy shit and come home.
And I do think that he was playing some games with the fact that, like, he was kind of, like, categorizing me because the people that were in front of me were in one category, and I'm not going to get into that, but, like, he came to me and he put his fingers in my face being like, what's 1 + 2? And I literally looked at him, and you can attest this, is like, I'll be nice, I'll be courteous, if you're having a breakdown, power to you, we all do it, but, like, mind your business. I'm in the grocery store.
Also, it has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with me, but, like, don't push me, sir. And he was like, what's 1 + 2? And I was like, this is not my fight to fight with you and your tomatoes. And he was like, so you don't know? You're so uneducated? You didn't go to school? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm literally like...
Not the lady to do it to.
I'm like, you...
Kenny will fight a grown man if she has to.
I'll fight a grown man.
Another sidetrack story, but I almost saw you fight a grown man at camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were at camp one night, my parents' camp, when we were roommates. And I was in love and she wasn't. Oh, sorry, wrong topic. Yep. But now we're in love, so it's fine. But we were at camp, had some friends over, and the way we park cars at camp, because there's other camps around us, we like stack them. So like one car in front of the other, because there's not a lot of room. And our friend Dan had his 4Runner there, and he parked in front of someone else who was around camp. And it was late, like 10:30 at night, and this gentleman comes over, and he walks over to all of us at the campfire and goes, whose fucking 4Runner is parked in front of my car? And Dan kind of was like, I don't know what to say. And Kenny gets up out of her chair and she's like, mine, what's the problem? And then all of a sudden he like, I'm just kidding. No, I was just busting you guys. Everything's fine. And then immediately walked away. And like Kenny got out of her chair and was like, not my 4Runner, but what's the problem? And I thought she was going to throw hands with this grown man.
Yeah, I would have. And I almost threw hands with this 85-year-old Russian man that had issues with North Carolina state taxes.
Yeah.
Like, that's between you and our state.
Yeah, and the 17-year-old working the counter that's just doing his job.
Who's just working on a Saturday to make enough money to probably buy a video game to play with his friends after work. Like, God forbid.
Right, can you imagine? I start the podcast and it's just me and everyone's like, where's Kenny? And I was like, oh, she got locked up for assault and battery.
To an 85-year-old Russian man.
Yeah, the day we get back from Tampa.
And I was literally like, I literally looked at him and I'm like, you don't know me like this. We're in Harris Teeter, I'm in line, and I just want them to use their store Harris Teeter card because I don't have one, and I want the discount on my macaroni and my coffee creamer.
Right.
Like, it's like...
Like, I'll go to jail for those pears, buddy.
You want me to pay for your tomatoes and your pears and pay the taxes? Sure.
Here's a $5 bill.
Leave
me alone.
Get out of my face. Exactly.
But that's like the whole thing, what we kind of talked about, just like being good. Sometimes you just try to make the world a little bit better of a place by being you don't even have to be like the world's nicest person.
No.
But just being an understanding, aware human being who understands that everybody's going through something. Like, what if you were like in the darkest place and you just snapped. Like,
Right.
so, and that sometimes happens to people. Like, you don't know. Like, just be a decent human.
Right. So there's some, and to be honest, I feel like people like to like poke the bear.
Well, especially when I feel like because he was put in a corner of like, oh, this kid's wrong, I'm going to get other people to be like, yeah, buddy, you're wrong. And nobody bought into it.
No.
Because again, brother, I don't care about your pears and your tomatoes. If the kid was like, hey, that's $46, I might have been like, yeah, I think that's wrong.
But like, and I would just, yeah, no. And I was like, we just traveled all day.
Yeah.
We have no food in our fridge. We are going back to work. We picked up your computers from getting fixed.
Yep.
It was a full day. And I was like, your girl is starving,
Right.
first of all. And you don't want to get in my way, period. Let alone, now I'm hungry.
Right.
And you're getting in my way.
Yep.
So that's kind of full circle back to
Episode 7.
episode 7, the first one of the new year.
Yep.
So
2025.
no, it was a good one.
It was good. It was very good.
It flowed well. We talked about some things that, you know,
We had cooking.
We had cooking, what we're looking forward to, some of our resolutions as a couple, as individuals, as professionals, how we want the year to go.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was last episode. So if you haven't listened to it, make sure you go and listen to it on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, any of those.
Or head to our website, thebkloungepod.com. It's available there as well. And just to take a second, if you guys do have it on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, or if you've ever checked it out, or you want to help us out, go to those platforms, click download, save it, like, the BK Lounge podcast itself on each platform. It
Review
helps us
it.
out a ton. Yeah, if you can leave a review on it, I know you can on Spotify. Please take the time, give us your honest feedback. If you want to type a comment on our YouTube video, please do. We want to hear everything.
You imagine we get sponsored by Body Armor?
That'd be sick.
Or Yeti?
Or Yeti. Yeah.
I don't know.
Options are open. We're in the market for sponsors.
We are.
We are.
Yeah.
We're not greedy.
Nope.
We want to be a part of something. We want you to be a part of us.
We don't do very good at plugging ourselves, but we'll plug you.
Right. Absolutely.
So, if you know some people.
Or if like Body Armor sponsored us a Yeti, we just get another neon sign right here, like a Yeti in white. I think that looks sick.
You just a full wall of neon
Yeah, our house
signs.
would probably burn down, but that's not here nor there. Episode 8. Mm-hmm. We're gonna kind of jump into what we've got.
Oh.
What we've been up to. Things that have happened maybe since last episode.
Yeah.
What happened since last episode, Kenny?
I bought a car. We bought a car.
We bought a car. Yeah, Kenny got a new whip.
Yeah.
Her Tiguan she leased in Florida, and it was due up for either turn-in, new lease, buyout, all sorts of options. We really didn't know what way to go. So we went to one dealership, kind of went into it. Last episode wasn't a great experience. Went to Hendrick VW here in Charlotte, or just out in Concord, excuse me.
Yep.
And they were awesome.
Yep.
Tell them about your whip.
I love it. I've always been a big car kind of girl, and we had the Tiguan and we have the Jeep, 2 larger vehicles. So we were like, it's not very smart for us to have 2 large vehicles. Like, what's the purpose of that? And he works at home, and I have a decent commute to work.
Right.
So ethically, we're like, okay, well, let's consider downsizing. But like, my whole motto of the whole process was like, if I'm gonna downsize, I am not gonna downgrade.
Right.
So don't give me the basic model.
Right.
Just because it's affordable. I want, like, I gave them the numbers, whatever. But we went there, and is it Jamie or Jaime?
He said it both ways.
He said it both ways. So both ways.
I think his name is Jaime, but for ease, when he talks to people, I think he just says Jamie.
Because he's from Venezuela?
I think.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. He
Yeah,
told
great
us.
guy, great salesman, new on the floor, awesome, met us at the front door. very personable, listened to us, like didn't have his own thought process of like, oh, I really need to sell this car, or I need to sell this or that. He listened to exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
Brought us some options.
Yeah.
It was great.
So, no, he was awesome. So if you're in the market, go see him. Throw our names out there. Throw the podcast out there. He'll know exactly who you are.
Yep.
So he was awesome. But I walked in and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And he was like, all right, what do you think about this? And he kept, it was an ongoing joke to be like, what do you think of red? And I'm like,
yeah.
Do I look like I'm a red car kind of girl? Granted, my first car was red.
Okay. Yep.
Whatever. But brings out a couple. But I had my eyes on one color. I didn't care what car it was. I wanted this one color, and it's like a moon gray. It's kind of like has like a bluish tint to it.
Yeah, it's sweet. It looks really nice.
And so he pulls around after I just looked at a Tiguan, which I had
red.
In red.
And we actually kind of liked the red.
Yeah, it was nice.
And we're like, okay, this is nice. And I kind of gave him props because obviously the Tiguan is a bigger, more expensive car. And I'm like, you know what? Good on you, bro, because you just brought us the bigger, more expensive car because now we're going to look at something smaller and what's the likelihood we're going to want it.
Right.
And he kind of chuckled and like gave me the smile and whatever. And then he pulls it around and me and Kenny both looked at each other and were like, holy shit, that is very nice.
Yes. And so I was like, whoa. I was like, I kind of like that. And so we took it for a quick little drive and I was like, okay, sweet. But it's a Volkswagen Jetta GLI, a 2025.
It's sweet. Sporty. Like when he backed it in, I was like, that kind of looks like an Audi from the backside.
Right.
Like it's clean. It's sporty. The color of it, it's got like the two-tone almost to it. It is so nice. Interior's beautiful. And again, for a smaller car, again, compared to a Tiguan or an Atlas, what we were kind of thinking of the range of, we are very, very, very happy with it.
But he stayed very clear from like leasing us, and this was due to his manager Brianna, who
is also great.
Yeah, she was awesome as well. But she was like guiding him, and she was like, "If I'm gonna be honest with you, don't go with the lease. You're gonna get more bang for your buck for this versus that." Very like clear, straight arrow.
Yeah, we never felt like they were being shady or like trying to push us one way or another. Like we had no intentions of going there thinking that we were going to buy a car.
Correct.
We were like, we'll probably lease it, kind of do what we did with the Tiguan. I've always leased vehicles just because I go through them so often. And it was like, ooh, because you always hear of like purchasing, it's so much more expensive than what a normal lease payment is. And it makes sense because obviously it's not yours or whatever. But then they started crunching the numbers on both and we were like...
Right. It's like, why not?
Right.
Because at that point, it's ours. But I was like, okay, so they chalk up some numbers, do this, and we're sitting there. And this is kind of like where we talked a little bit about it last week because after last week's podcast, we had to sit down and have a conversation.
Yep.
Because he's very...
quick with it.
Quick. Yes.
Because originally the numbers weren't meeting what we wanted. We said our payment, we don't want anything higher than this, not $1 more.
Right.
And so they kind of put the paper down and we're like, it's not really matching up.
And so he was like, if we put this down, we want this payment, yada, yada, yada.
I pretty much said I want to put money down, but I want a payment off of a higher down payment. And I was like, it might be crazy. And I said it, and she's like, yep, that is crazy. And I'm like, all right, well, it was worth a try. And she was like, if I can do this, will you guys leave with it? And I was like, oh shit, she can do that? That's a lot of money off. That's like another $5,000 off.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. And she gets up, walks away, and then Kenny's eyebrow at the brow.
Yeah, no, he was like, yeah, sure. And she was like, okay, picks up the papers, walks away, and I literally like whip my head around and I'm like, what? I was like, and what? That's way far, like we just jumped mountains.
Yeah, because originally we also said we didn't want to put any money down.
Yeah, we said we didn't want to put money down, and I didn't want to go over a certain payment because I'm paying for the car. So it's like, sir, this guy. I'm like, no. what are you doing? Stop vouching for my finances when it comes to buying a car, because I need to pay for it. So I was like, rewind, and I told Jaime, I was like, can you give us a second? And so I was like, okay, Jeep payment, boat payment, new car payment, insurance, storage for our boat. I was like, let's put those things in a value right now. Do we want to spend more money than what we are trying to bargain for? And he was like, oh, no. And I'm like, yeah, no, we don't. Because eventually, in the future, and we'll talk about that today, is we want to buy a house. We want to have a future. I was like, I am not willing to have all of these toys, have all of these payments, and never have a home.
Right.
I was like, I'm not willing. I'll ride my bike. I'll buy a bicycle off of Facebook Marketplace and ride to work before I am ever in a space where I'm like, I want a home, but I can't afford it because we have 4 cars, a boat, and all of these toys that are on a lease.
Right. So we rolled it back. I said, hey, can you maybe hold off on that? He went and got Brianna, and she came back, and she's like, so what's the thought? I was like, honestly, we like that. Didn't think you were going to be able to do it. We just need the night to talk about it. Put a deposit down, came home, shot the podcast. I was very frantic, as you guys know, last week. Had a conversation afterwards, crunched some numbers, laid some things out, kind of mapped out some changes in the near future.
And so we put all of the pieces together and said, now that we've had a moment to breathe, we're going to do it. So we did.
We did.
And the next day, brought the Tiguan in and brought the new Jetta home.
Yeah.
And it just hit 100 miles today.
Dang, Gina.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's a sweet ride. It really is. Especially like I enjoy sedans, and like I was kind of telling her, we actually looked at an Atlas to swap out the Jeep for, because again, our whole process and thought process is trying to save money. My Jeep payment is very expensive. Got it when I was single, knew I wasn't buying a house in Vermont because of how high of pricing it was. Made sense at the time, had no problem paying it. At the time, it was a great choice. Could have saved money. For me, I like nice cars. I want to have nice things. I work hard for them. And it just, when there's 2 people involved and you have mutual goals and mutual financial goals, that changes the thought process on how much money you're spending every month on toys, on cars, on insurance, everything. Because again, you've got that financial combined goal. So it was like, we need to get out of this Jeep payment and get into something more affordable. And we don't want to get into something smaller. We want something similar but cheaper and still comfortable. So if we do take other road trips to Vermont, we've got plenty of space in it. It's comfortable, it's safe, whatever. So we were looking at an Atlas at VW, but my original point was I never thought of VW as like, I don't want to say a nice brand. It's always been known as a reliable brand, but I like luxury, I like comfort, I like tech. And when I think of those things, I never thought of VW ever. But then going to VW and looking at the Tiguan, looking at the Jetta, I was like, okay, VW has very much changed and gone way up in scale.
Because you even liked my Tiguan that I had before.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it wasn't bare bones, it wasn't anything like that, and it was a nice car. It was one less than the top like package.
Right.
But like, and that's what I was explaining to him, and like, you have connections with like Goss, Dodge, and Jeep back home in Vermont.
Yep.
And they always helped you out when it came to you switching your cars out so frequently and whatever. But also, and what we've been talking about is you've had like, and I don't shame you for your decisions and like your decisions for like the car that you have and all of that. And like, we'll dive more into that here shortly. But it's like, you also never had anybody that was like, hey, this is what we're going to do as a couple.
Right. No, it was always, this is what I want to do. And if you're here with me, then you're going to do it too.
Right. And when you've also supported differently than what we do in our relationship.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
And so, like, it's very different structure than what it was. And I think that's also where us being friends before we were in a relationship has also helped, because I'm like, okay, crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, even when we were friends, I was like, hey, I just bought 2 jet skis. And she's like, why would you do that? Why do you need that? And I was like, because I want them. And she was like, okay, I think that's stupid, but like, get after it, I guess. Like, that's all you, buddy. And now, again, things have changed. Again, we have financial goals together. And I never really was with anybody that ever talked finances or financial goals. It was, I'm going to get here one way or another. And if you're there, okay, if that's that. Like, I never really had anything where it's like, okay, let's plan a true future together.
And like, it's also who I am, because even if it was like that, you'd be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do and we're going to get here and then we'll be fine. But I'm not like that, because I want to do things on my own as well.
Right.
Like, I want to have my foot in the door, and like, when it comes to our finances and what we're doing in the future, I don't want it to just be like you riding it out. I'm not like that. I am a very independent like woman in that sense, and like, we're going to do this together or we're going to do it separately. And if you get here and I'm here, or if I'm here and you're here,
right, it's never going to match up.
It's never going to match up.
We're not going to get the things that we together as a couple want. Like, I want a Wagoneer. I'd love a Wagoneer. And sure, could I go out tomorrow and get one and make it work? Probably. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't help us get to where we're trying to go.
No.
At all.
No.
But I looked at an Atlas, beautiful black and silver Atlas. Just didn't work out price-wise, payment-wise. Was also looking to buy that, and just wasn't where we needed it to be to be able to pull the trigger, unfortunately. Because again, unfortunately, the Jeep has a lot of negative equity in it, in the sense of what I have paid for via the lease and how much it's depreciated. The depreciation on it absolutely blew my freaking mind.
It made you kind of angry at yourself,
too. I wouldn't say angry, because again, I don't regret getting it.
But frustrated.
Yeah, it's frustrating, especially like now.
Right. It's more of like the whole process has been you, like, your wheels have been turning, in a sense of like you're just frustrated with how it's transposed, because you can't predict that. Nobody can.
No, and I mean, if it was 10 years prior or 5 years prior, the equity might have been different. I don't know, but it's frustrating now trying to make changes with all this negative equity that we have to take care of if we want to get out of it, because we're not going to roll negative equity into another vehicle and then have a higher payment and then just keep that cycle going of owing this much and the vehicle being worth this much. So it's frustrating in that point, and at some point we're going to have to figure it out and make a decision on how to get where we want to go. But again, I don't regret it. At the time, it worked and made sense, and I wanted it and could afford it and worked hard for it. But now it's just like, oh, mutual goal. Now this negative equity is a bump in the road of us trying to get where we want to go together, not Nick getting a new car and Nick getting a house or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's been very frustrating for me, because as you guys know, and as Kenny very much knows, I don't like to sit and wait and do all this and do all that. I'm very much like, okay, this is a problem. We got to get through it. We got to get out of it. Let's just go. Let's just get it taken care of. It's off the plate. It'll take some time to recoup this, that, and the other thing, or I know we can make it work, which, again, we probably could make that Atlas work, but it's more than what we wanted to pay. It didn't make sense, and we'll figure it out from there. It's just, I hate it on my mind.
Right.
I hate it on my mind.
But, like, at the same time, and this is what I continue to tell them, is for anybody that owns their own business and for anybody that has to plan starting in the new year, you have an understanding of what the beginning of a new year also means. Is we have tax season, you have things that you need to plan for, especially as a business owner, which we're in that ballpark for. And so we have all of these things that are happening at one time, because there's things that are renewing, there's things that need to get paid, there's things that we need to plan for, and it can be like super overwhelming. And in our opinion is like, in my opinion, is the Jeep is going to stay around for a little while.
Right.
It's not going to be next week that you're going to come home with a new car. The negative equity is gone. That's not the case.
No.
But there are bigger things. Like, he just brought his 2 computers, which is the main source of his business, to get fixed, and you're having some technical difficulties with them still.
Right.
So you're trying to get both of the computers to speak to each other, sync up, work together so that it doesn't affect your business.
Right. And I think, like you were saying, I feel like everything's just compounding right now. Mm-hmm. Like you said, like the Jeep is one thing, because again, we're trying to lower that payment, but if we have to dish out a bunch of money in the beginning to get it down to that payment, okay, for the next X amount of months, we're recouping that money that we just had to put down. And then, oh shoot, my stream keeps crashing, my computer keeps freezing up. What the heck do I do? Oh, I got a second PC from a sponsor. That's having some issues. I don't really have a backup PC. And then you had the great idea of like, hey, while we're away in Florida, why don't you drop it off at the Micro Center, have them look at it. I was like, okay, fantastic idea. Again, me not thinking like that. I'm thinking like, I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't have the time to try to figure it out myself. I'm also an idiot when it comes to computers. People are like, oh, how do you do this? I don't know. I truly don't know. And so I was like, oh, I have to drop $6,000 on a brand new computer for the next 4 years of no worry. And then it's like, oh, shoot, we have this negative equity. We just bought another car. Tax season's coming up. And for those of you who stream or have a business on the web, 9 times out of 10, they don't take taxes out. So at the end of the year, you're responsible for paying that large lump sum. Or if you're ahead of the game, you pay quarterly, which in the beginning of the year, I wasn't doing so hot.
That's any private contractor.
Right. I wasn't doing amazing at all in the beginning of this year, and I kind of thought, well, I'm not doing super, super hot. I'll just pay for it all at the end of the year like I did the year prior because I wasn't full-time. And then obviously joining TARP and getting my name out there more and collaborating with other creators, I have grown exponentially. So now it's like, oh my God, tax season's coming up. I'm going to have to pay through the nose. It's not going to be pretty. Oh, okay, taxes, new computer, new car for Kenny, new car for me, trying to save money. It's just like, it's just so much. And it just, especially like during the day, I'm usually pretty good. But as soon as I slow down, it's like Attack of the Birds in my head.
Yeah. And so that's what we're working on. And we are being fully transparent about just what's going on. It's not that we're financially hurting. It's not that we're going through a tough time, and we've both been in that situation, separately, not technically together in a relationship. We've done that, but we've been a part of it for each other.
Right.
And we're definitely not there. It's just a matter of like everything happening at once, and it's just a very like overwhelming feeling. I know more so for you than me because I've done it, because I also have to do it. I make income through lessons. I have to pay my taxes. I do my own taxes. I have to do write-offs. I have to do all of that for my own self, for my brand. And then on top of that is we have a home, we have responsibilities, we have other things that are going on, and the cars are the least of my worries because that's something that we already pay for.
Right.
But what I mentioned to him is we're not going to make money. We're not going to re-add to our savings account. We're not going to do those things if we are not working. So if you're not streaming and I'm not at the golf course, if I'm not teaching or there doing whatever, we're not making money.
Right.
And so right now, the biggest thing is for you to get back to streaming, not having to worry that your computer's going to freeze.
Because, I mean, like, I think of it again as very much like I always compare streaming and the business to running a restaurant. Like, my restaurant is doing great. Like, we've got a lot of awesome customers. We've got a lot of great family that show up every single day. And if my stream keeps freezing, crashing out, audio issues, having to restart, like, that's not a fun experience. That interrupts the role play, that interrupts the stories, that interrupts the interactions with, the BB community. And I'm like, if I go to a restaurant and their grill keeps dying, that gets old, and like, what the heck, you don't have your stuff together. And I feel terrible about it. Like when freezes happen, like one happened today after I got back from the Micro Center. And I was like, I apologize 100 times over because I'm like, people don't come to see that. People come to see
but it's
a story and
it's a different experience. And
Right.
like that's something that you're learning right now too is
Yeah.
you're not servicing them like you're feeding them food.
No, I know.
They're not showing up hungry for it. They enjoy watching you.
Right, and that's what I've been met with a lot of, like, brother, don't worry about it. Like, we're here for you. We're not here for Burt. We're here to interact with you, and, like, we get it.
No.
I don't know. It's something that I feel bad about because, again, I'm trying to produce a product, and if that product isn't what it should be for the amazing people that show up every day and spend their hard-earned money to help me have a full-time job, like, it almost feels like greasy to me.
Yeah, and I think that's a completely different perspective of what anybody else sees. I think that's just about what you reflect on with yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the truth by any means because you are constantly in your Discord communicating to the people in your community. You have a staff team that you're constantly in connections with that are also trying to help you make it better.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like you're shutting your stuff off and being like, bye everybody.
Right.
See you next time. I'm just not in the mood. Like that's greasy and grimy,
Yeah.
but you're not. Like you're very apologetic, but it's out of your control.
Right.
And those people are there to connect with you and listen to you and be a part of the things that you're doing on stream.
Right.
And that's why people listen and watch us. That's why people listen and watch you.
Yeah.
Like it has nothing to do with what's going on.
Yeah.
But like I've continuously said is you can't do it if you don't have a running computer.
Right. Yep. And again, you kind of mentioned like sometimes you got to take the time and figure it out. Like
Correct.
Because I'm always like, well, I don't want to drop it off to the Micro Center because I'm going to be off of stream for how many days? And she's like, okay, well, if you don't take X amount of days off and have it fixed, you're just going to have that many more days of possible issues that are going to frustrate you and you know, ebb and flow with the stream. I don't like to sit and wait. I want results. I want things fixed. I don't want anybody to be inconvenienced by it. And again, I've never been met with, you know, when I'm having an issue with the computer, I never see one comment of like, oh, seriously, bro, like you can't figure this out, or like, why can't you ever fix anything? Like, it's always like, hey, no problem. You know, people make jokes about it and, you know, they're there for the good time. And you're 110% right. It's very much just me in my own head.
Correct. And that's something that you don't need to worry about. And like I understand it. I understand the stress. It's similar to like me being like, well, I've had 2 days off back to back. What am I going to have to like go back to? Where can I support X, Y, and Z? Like, I understand that. Or it's like somebody's like, can I get a lesson on Sunday? And be like, I don't work Sundays.
Right.
Why? Because that's my day.
I'm human. I need it.
And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. But it's very similar, and nobody truly cares about those things the way that you care about them.
Right.
But you can't do anything if you don't have a working computer, and we're in the process of making that better. They work. It's just
Now that both of them are up, hopefully we can do tomorrow. Bobby's helping me out. We're gonna do the dual PC stream setup. Mm-hmm. So one computer will be running the streaming software, and one computer will be running just the game. And my hope is, since I've only been using one computer and everything's been on and functioning with one computer, that by distributing the responsibilities, it's a little bit easier on it, and hopefully no issues. So we'll take it day by day, and if we got to make more changes, we're going to do it because this BB fam is very important to me, and it's my job, and you got to do what you got to do to get where you need to go.
It's just like when he moved here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Things broke in transit when he first moved here. This was before the podcast was born, but he was down from stream for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks after being off for a week and a half prior, getting ready for the move, and I was like, this is going to kill my business. Mm-hmm. And it was right after her and I had the conversation of like, should I try it full time? Should I not? And we said, yep, let's go with it. And it was just very like frantic because again, every single month of streaming is very different revenue-wise. And time away, time down, vacationing, computer issues, all changes that revenue. And it can be very frightening because, again, there's no baseline pay. It's not, oh, you streamed 80 hours, you're going to make $2,000. You could stream 100 80 hours and make $500. You never know. You never know.
So we've been dealing with that, but that's kind of been what is going on with us. We did just go on a vacation.
Yep, little long trip for was one of Kenny's gifts for Christmas.
It was one of my Christmas presents was to go and watch the Bruins and Tampa Bay game down in Tampa.
Yep.
And we had an awesome time. The Tampa Bay Lightning won.
Tampa spanked the Bruins. It was bad. And right before we walked into the arena, I was like, what do you think the score is going to be? And she's like, 4-1. And I'm like, nah, it's going to be 3-1 Bruins. And sure enough, 4-1 Lightning.
Do I know them or do I know them?
So, if you ever need a sports bettor,
can you imagine? I just become a bookie on the side.
That would be wild.
Can you imagine?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Who knows? Kenny's bookie business. You imagine? KBV.
That'd be wild.
Hey.
Whoa.
Hey,
we might be onto something.
Whoa.
Discord might be blowing up. Your Insta might be popping after this.
So, I don't know. But, I don't know. We had a good time. We played golf.
Yep.
We went to TPC Tampa Bay.
Beautiful.
My second time playing it, every single time I'm like, this is like short and it seems so straightforward. But then I'm like, oh, I didn't score that well. But no, it was a lot of fun. It wasn't warm Florida weather, but it snowed here in Charlotte.
So we missed that, thankfully.
We missed our first Charlotte snow.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, not mad about it.
But no, we've been doing a little traveling. We just got back yesterday, but we're starting to kind of reset ourselves, and we both worked today. He had some stuff with the computer, going back and forth with that. I went to work. I went to the gym, kind of got back into the regimen a little bit.
Yep, back into the swing of things. But no, we went to the hockey game. We played some golf. We had a nice little tiny home Airbnb with like a loft bed. It was a nice little spot. Had some great food.
Very good food.
A couple of drinks here and there. It was really fun. And like I enjoy traveling, but I really enjoy traveling with Kenny. And especially, I think I would enjoy it if we both went to a place that neither of us have been. But like you've been to Tampa, so you're like, oh, like I've been to this area, and you're sharing stories, and we go to places that you've been, and like you showing me places that you've been and doing things together. I just love.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. It was a good Christmas gift.
It was a good one.
So, but no, that's kind of been what we've been up to. We're playing the highs and lows, but we've been making a lot of really hard decisions together.
We have.
It's been hard, it's been tough, and I'm guilty. I hate making decisions.
We both do at times, and like I kind of mentioned it in the podcast announcement, but I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't hate decision making, and then I'm like, ooh, sometimes I really do.
Yeah.
And especially like we already talked about, like the whole like sit down, play like the long game of it. I hate that. I hate it. I'm used to like the military throwing something in my face and being like, quick on your feet, do something.
Yeah.
And all right, this is the decision. We're going to make it work. We're going to go with it. All right, there was an issue here, issue there, ebb and flow, change and roll with it. But I mean, some decisions I don't really care to make in the sense of like, I don't care. Not that I don't care, but it's like, it doesn't matter. In the sense of like, you're like, oh, what do you want for dinner? I don't care. Like,
I hate that because I don't mind making a decision as long as I know what he wants to eat. If he was like Mexican, I'm like, got the spot. If he's like, I'm really feeling some Japanese style cuisine, I'm like, got the spot for that. He's like, I would really like a really good steak. I want to go to a nice place where we can have a nice date night and have steak. I'd be like, got a couple places for that. But I hate when he's like, whatever. And I'm like, you just got to tell me what you actually want to eat, and I'll pick.
Because I never, if I'm craving something, I'll say it. But most of the time I'm just like, I don't, and that's like, she's like, oh, like, what should I get for groceries, or what do you want this week? I'm like, doesn't matter to me. Because again, I'm not the kind of guy that's like, oh, doesn't matter. You pick somewhere, and then I go there, and I'm like, oh, I didn't want this. Like, this is gross. Or whatever you want to cook tonight, you cook it. I'm like, this was a bad choice. Like, I will always find something to eat. If you cook me something, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, you better.
Absolutely. I have no issue going to any restaurant, especially if you want to go or you want to make something, no complaints. Because I'm a simple guy.
You're not.
When it comes to food, I am.
No. Well, yeah, you like basic.
Exactly. She's like, oh, what are you feeling? I'm like, oh, I could go for a burger. I could go for wings. I could go for Italian every single time.
He loves Italian food and tavern food.
Yep.
The two things I never want.
Right. And so she's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling like any pub. I was like, okay, that's fine. But then other decisions, like thinking back to the car, it's just like, okay, yep, just go. Let's make it work. We'll do it. Why do you think it's so tough? Or why do you think we struggle with it sometimes? Or like you as an individual, like what part of decision making do you struggle with or hate the most?
Disappointing myself or other people. I fear disappointment. Like I truly do. And like some decisions where it's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, it's like funny and whatever, but then it's like it creates so much anxiety for me. Like I genuinely fear that something is not going to be up to par for myself or anybody around me.
That's crazy because when you said that, I immediately thought of like two things that immediately popped up in my mind. Remember that date night we had in the city and we went in that rooftop place? Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be like, I had this whole date night. I talked to it on chat about it. We get there and it was like, drinks were terrible, expensive, food was terrible and expensive, and it just wasn't like a good vibe. And I was like, damn it, you suck. You literally had a date night planned and like, this is awful. And I even thought that when we got to the Airbnb because I was like, oh, okay, I knew it was a loft bed, not a whole lot of room up there. You kind of have to crawl across. Is that really comfortable? And then like the living room only had like one small love seat and a weird like folding wooden seat. And I'm like, this isn't very like, I feel like comfortable where we can like lounge and do things. And I was like, this was not a good choice.
Yeah. And that, I don't care. I feel like I am easier to please than you. And I genuinely mean that. I think that there are more circumstances where things are done where I can be happy with anything. I genuinely believe that you don't.
Give me an example.
I think about even when we're car shopping.
Mm-hmm.
You could give me plain Jane, crank windows. I don't care. You want the bells, whistles. You want the car to speak to you, to drive itself. Like I think we went to a date night where we went to a food truck and we got a parallel park. And I'm like, whatever, didn't think too much of it. And he has a little button that parallel parks his Jeep for him. And I'm like, are you actually kidding me right now with that? And like, that's exactly what I mean is like, you have expectations because you've created them for yourself.
Yep.
And like making yourself happy. And that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But I think when it comes down to like pleasing, like I knew as soon as we walked through that Airbnb, it's not even that we walked. We pulled up to it and he's like looking around and he goes, And I'm like, I can already tell the wheels are turning. You could put me in a room with a roof on it, bathroom. I'll figure it out. And I said that. I said, you and I weren't together and I lived my life alone with Bo or something like that, I'd live in one of these for sure. And You're like, no. And I'm like, I would.
I couldn't. But again, it's not so much like, yeah, sure. Part of the thought process is I don't think this is up to par in the sense of like comfortability and what I thought. But I also, again, at the end of the day, want the absolute best for you. Like if I could have given you Tom Brady's house as an Airbnb, I would. Completely unnecessary, by all means. And I think that's why one of the reasons I pulled the trigger so quick on the car was because I knew you loved it. I knew you liked it. You loved the color. You loved everything about it. And it was getting closer to where we were. And I was like, I will figure it out. We will figure it out. Like, she wants this. She loves it. I want her to have this.
Yeah, but also a thing with me is like, if I know I want something, I won't suffice for not having it. But like, that doesn't mean I'm going to make immediate decisions. As you're very like, we'll figure it out down the road. I'm like, no, I'm going to think about it and then I'll make it happen and then I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I just want like the best. And I think of like, oh, we're going on a trip to connect and like relax. And I'm like, I feel like I don't know. There's just something about it that, again, it wasn't a bad choice by any means, but it's just like, I want the best. I want the best for you. I want the best for us. I want the nice things for us.
But that's who you are. It's even outside of me. And like, I love you for that, for thinking of me in that way. But that's who you are.
Right.
You want the best.
Yeah, and I don't think you walked into that being like, oh, Nick made a poor choice whatsoever. It has nothing to do with like you saying things or making comments. No, it's just me thinking, is this the best I could have done for us? In that sense.
Right. And I don't care. Like, very, very plain Jane. Like, I loved it. I think at any point, if we have a standalone home, if it's a tiny home, if it's a normal size home, if it's a condo, if it's an apartment, I don't care. And that's also something between us, and we always have a very like intense conversation when we talk about vacations, is like, you're a resort guy. I want everything to be done for me. I don't want to have to think about it. Not me. I want comfort. I want relaxation. I am not a big crowd kind of girl.
Yeah, you don't want to be around people.
I don't want to be around people. I want to be in my own space. I like having a kitchen just in case. Am I going to use it? Maybe, maybe not. But like figuring out where I go to eat or we go to eat and doing all of those things, like, I prefer that. I don't want anybody else to make the decisions on a vacation for me.
Yeah.
Like resort, anything like that. And I can't foresee myself ever going on a cruise.
No, and we talked about that in Florida a little bit. And like my thing was always like resorts, everything's there. You don't have to think about anything. There's usually options. Everything's done for you. Like, you don't have to worry about like going grocery shopping or what we're going to do for a meal or where you're going to go. Like, it's all just there. Mm-hmm. But I also have thought about, trips with friends where we go get an Airbnb and we go get food and we go out on the town and do stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't mind that either.
Right.
I don't mind that either at all.
And like, somebody just wrote in and said it's about being together and not what you have. And like, I am very like adamant in that, is if I'm in a place of comfort and I'm around the people that I want to be around, I don't care. We're going to eat, we're going to drink, we're going to enjoy each other's times, we're going to play games, we're going to do whatever we have to do.
Yep.
I don't need, there's water aerobics at 8:00. You have adult hours in the swimming pool from this time to this time with no kids.
Or an Airbnb with 4 bedrooms. Like, you don't, like, what is that?
Like, I don't, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's not about the materialistic things, especially, like, I don't take vacation. I never really allow myself to fully relax. Like, the first day, you weren't feeling very good after we went to breakfast, so I was like, let's just go hang out at the Airbnb. And he laid down. I was like, why don't you take a nap? And he was like, no, like, let's go and do something. I was like, no, you don't feel good. Why don't you take a nap? And he was like, and this was the night that we were going to the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, take a nap. So he took a nap. And I did work.
Yeah.
I was working.
Had a feeling.
So, but like, whatever. And then I just, for the last hour before he woke up, I was like just scrolling aimlessly with my feet up and relaxing and eating Nerds
Candy.
Clusters.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and again, do I think if we were at a Motel 8, we could still have a great time? Absolutely. Right. And again, I have made expectations for myself that I bring into the relationship of like, oh, I want the best for you, because I don't ever want you to be disappointed or let down, and you've never ever made me feel like I let you down or I disappointed you. So it's just like getting myself in that mindset of like, okay, yeah, is this the number one choice of all of the properties that you possibly could have had? No. Is it going to do just fine? Yep. Did it do just fine? Yep. Did we enjoy it? Did we like it? Did we have fun? Did we connect? Yeah. I think mission accomplished.
Right.
It's just changing things in my head again with mutual goals of being in a serious relationship where you both make it very clear of where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do. It's a whole new dynamic.
But like we talked about that even when you moved in, is like I'm a simpleton. That's the only way I can describe myself. So I'm a simpleton. He moved in, I had 3 forks and 2 spoons. And I think 3 butter knives. That's about it. And he was just like, got new silverware, we got new kitchen stuff, we filled it and we made it ours because he never wants to be unprepared.
Right.
I would say it's not a matter of like materialistic, you just like, I never want to not be prepared. And like for me, I'm like, that's overwhelming. If I need it, I'm going to go get it. I don't need to prepare for it. We're adults. But he's just like, and I make fun of him, and it like teach his own. Like I still love him. I'm not putting him out on the front lawn being like, figure it out. But like I came home from work and he was all moved in. And there's boxes everywhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm panic, anxiety, triggered. And I start opening boxes, and the first 3 boxes are just like dish soap and sponges. And I'm talking big boxes. And I'm like, what do we need all of these for? And then I get down to the bottom, and there's probably, give or take, 50 different boxes of Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Like doomsday prepper shit.
Not doomsday prepper, Costco shopper, and some people, including yourself, like, why are you buying bulk when you lived alone in a 1-bed or 2-bedroom apartment? I don't know. I don't know.
But that, and you can ask him. I had a little bit of a meltdown. I 100% had a meltdown. Full-blown panic attack, anxiety attack, being like, what did we just start and what are we getting into? Because now I'm freaking out because I don't know where we're going to put all of these Ziploc bags and sponges and dish soap. Right. We don't have room. And he was just like, it will be okay. We'll figure it out. I was like, yeah, you got to get rid of all of these Ziploc bags because I can't deal with that. If we need them, there's a Target 500 feet away from us.
And again, I hear that, but also we haven't had to buy Ziploc bags. We haven't had to buy batteries. For the longest time, we didn't have to buy paper towels. We haven't bought napkins. We haven't bought dish soap. And I've been here 8 months.
Guess what? I gave half of all of it away, and we still haven't ran out.
I call that being prepared.
And I call it... It triggered me. That's going to trigger me. I don't like that. But point proven. Simpleton. Not simpleton.
Right.
But like
I had batteries on Amazon that would auto ship to me. And that's why I had so many batteries. I was like, well, I saved $2.10 if I got it on the subscription. So it's like we're saving money on batteries.
That will make my skin crawl right off of this body and fall on the ground.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore because also we have a budget.
We do. We're budgeted.
We're budgeted.
We're cutting down. We're making changes.
We're not doing auto pay batteries. No need for that. We're not doing auto pay Ziploc bags. We're not doing that. We're being better. We're making big decisions together so we can have a better future.
Yep, and it all started by getting on the same phone plan.
Oh.
Yep, I was like, wow, we're on a phone plan together. This is kind of serious.
And I was
and she was like, whoa, yeah, haha.
Nah.
And then we bought a car together. Some might say, oh, we're walking up the stairs. Now we're jumping up them stairs.
Yeah, no, I haven't allowed it to sink in, and I don't think I will allow myself to because I do think it will, not in a bad way, I just get overwhelmed when I think about all of that.
You get overwhelmed when you think that we are on the same phone bill and we
that
bought
we're
a car
making
together.
Too many big decisions in a small amount of time.
Well, it's not like we're buying a house. We've put that out in the future.
Yeah. That's a 2026 moment.
Yep.
Not a 2025 moment.
Yeah.
So, and yes, I do have him on GPS, but he doesn't leave the one spot when I check him in the morning and when I check him in the afternoon.
First off, we need to just caveat, we're not tracking each other. We have Find My Friends. We have Find Our Friends with all of our friends, our family. I'm not being tracked for any bad reason, or just the way that was worded, I felt like could have been interpreted very wrong.
Do with that as you will, as some would say. I don't ever look at it because he's not doing anything.
Right.
You're not leaving.
Right. I'll check when it's like 5 o'clock and I'm like, oh, she said she's going to be home at 3. Oh, she's still at the course. Okay.
Yeah. I'm usually in one spot.
I never really used Find My Friends or I don't even know the name of it. Is it Find My Friends?
Yeah, Find My Friends.
Yeah, Find My Friends. I never used it until Jocelyn, actually. She's like, oh, here's my location. And I'm like, why would I need your location? And she was like, so we know where each other are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
You can also do that on Uber. You can share your Uber ride with somebody if you're like Ubering by yourself.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
that's true.
But like, no, and
it's definitely good in case of emergency. Because there was one time where her phone died, and I was tracking her when she was leaving the bars one night to make sure she got home safe, and her phone actually died. She told me it was going to die. She was charging it in the Uber, waiting for a pizza, and she's like, "Hey, my phone's going to die. I'll let you know when I get home." And I'm like, "Perfect. Thank you so much. Love you. Let me know when you're home." Hour goes by. I'm like, "Okay, where you at? Did you make it home?" Nothing. Her Find My Friends is still showing at the pizza place. I'm like, what happened? I'm calling her. I'm texting her. I'm like, are you okay?
I'm surprised you didn't call the pizza place.
Did you make it home? What's going on? Her location isn't updating. I'm freaking out because I'm in Vermont. She's in an Uber by herself, intoxicated, waiting for pizza. She finally answers at like 6 a.m. the next morning, and she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, my phone was dead. I plugged it in when I got home and I fell asleep. And
yeah,
I'm like,
because so I was out at the bars with my friend Jess, our friend Connell. I think that was it. And was that St. Patty's Day?
I think so. It might have been.
Yeah. So.
But I was like, do I call Charlotte PD and like be like, hey, my girlfriend never texted me when she got home? Like I was close. I was up all night, worried.
And
she's like, yeah, I plugged it in. It was dead, charging, and I fell asleep. And I was like,
yeah. And then I woke up and I was like, ooh, I'm in trouble. And like in his point, he was like, why didn't you open up your laptop? And I was like, well, I was 1, hammered, and 2, I had pizza in my system, and I took my shoes off and I laid down in bed, and now I'm texting you in the moment I woke up. And I get it. If that roles were reversed, I would probably be in the same boat. But
yeah, back to the Find My Friends. That's a great way to use it.
But yeah, so we track each other when we have to, when we're like, where are you? What are you doing? And that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
What should we jump into now? I feel like
we've jumped everywhere.
We have jumped everywhere.
We've jumped everywhere. And I think that we're getting close to the end.
I think so.
So.
I think we'll take some questions.
We have 151 people live with us.
This is a record for us.
So this is a good record.
Hell yeah, brother.
For all of our 151 live listeners, you got any questions for us that you're dying to ask us in our hard decisions that we're making together? Ew.
As a couple so in love.
And if anybody's in a dire need for Ziploc bag soap or sponges, you let me know and I will send them to you. Ooh, what's my favorite golf course to play? Anywhere? I would say, I think my favorite of all time is Bears Club in Jupiter, Florida. I think that was probably hands down one of my favorite clubs that I've ever played at. It's like Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, all of them are members there. It's very like light flex if you know golf, but it was incredible. It was honestly incredible. But like my favorite place that I consistently go to, I would say, is in Pinehurst. I love Forest Creek. which is a private club there, and for public golf, I would say Tobacco Road.
That was fun. I thought it was a huge flex that I was able to play at a TPC course.
Yeah, you played a TPC course this past week.
Yeah.
But you played Tot Hill Farm, which is also in North Carolina. You haven't played Tobacco Road yet.
I thought that's... Oh, no. Yep, you're right.
How many outfits so far today? Is that for me?
That's obviously for you.
This is my third. Number 3.
Number 3. And after this, she'll probably shower and change.
It's number 4.
How?
Because I did change when I woke up because it was freezing in this house. So I changed. Then I changed into my work clothes. I went to the gym, put on gym clothes. And I got home and I put on these clothes.
And you're going to shower and probably get into bedtime clothes.
It's been a big day for the outfits.
My God. I'm still in the first one.
What? Oh. Do you want to answer one and then I'll answer that one that's highlighted?
Yeah. Burt, what does a tattoo mean? This tattoo on my arm right here, I created myself. I kind of got the ideas together and went and got tattoos with my sister. But essentially, I am the last Riley boy. I'm the last male Riley in the family. And as many of you know, I am still in the military. I did 13 years active. And I wear my name on my chest. I used to wear my name on my chest every single day, and it was something that was very, very important to me. I was very proud to be a Riley, and with me being the last one, I wanted to have some sort of, heritage for the Riley name. So I did a band for my grandfather, Burt, who my channel is named after. So the big line right here is for my grandfather, Burt. The next line down is a band for my dad. And then this kind of large opening here with the shading is kind of the start of my life to the end of my life. And all the little dots kind of mean like the unknown future. And if I have a boy, when we have a boy, I'm going to get another band in here for them to keep the Riley name alive. And I also have a very, very thin black line in here for... I had a French Bulldog puppy, Remington, that passed away at a young age, and I thought, well, he was a Riley boy, so I'll give him a line in there. And I got to get another little line for Nash, but just kind of a Riley boy heritage tattoo. What?
I don't got anything for you. We had somebody write in, said, what is the hardest part of having a gamer as a boyfriend? From the wife.
What does the from the wife mean?
That means that the wife is asking you.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So it depends on, I would say there's 2 sides to everything. And I think that there's a lot of people that have some men, or even any significant other. It could be vice versa. It could be the guy to the girl to the guy. It doesn't matter. If you have a significant other that plays video games, there's sometimes a line where they don't know how to decipher the two, and they find it to prioritize that over you. I don't have that feeling, and he does this as his job. So he gives me time and space to do my job. I give him time and space to do his. If he was sitting in this room eating DoorDash 3 times a day, not letting the dogs out, not cleaning up the house when he's around, not running errands if need be, coming and visiting me at work if I've forgotten lunch, doing anything like that, I think that there's a fine line, and he's not the kind to be like, oh, this is what I'm doing and you have to be okay with it. It's like he does prioritize me, our dogs, our house, all of those things. But at the same time, I am also somebody that loves the space. So if some nights when I'm like, I just want to be alone, I want to put one dog in here with you and I'll have one out there with me, and I want to sit on my computer, I want to do schoolwork, I want to just veg, I want to do that, go and stream and work and be okay with it. So I think the in-between it depends on how much your spouse or your significant other respects you and what you need. But he never prioritizes gaming over me, even though sometimes I ask for him to do that.
Yeah.
But that's just me, and that's just our relationship, and that's not the same for everybody, because I know I've had a lot of friends that have been on the other side of things, and they're just like, my husband, my boyfriend, all of this is just like, has his headset on, doesn't pay any attention to me, and I'm just here doing nothing, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's not healthy.
Right.
But that's not the situation that we're in by any means. The eye roll. Yeah, so it's just an ongoing joke that you tend to say when we have a boy.
Because I'm banking, I always say, we need to have a boy. We need to have a boy to keep the Riley name on.
And I think that he wants it too hard, and I think it's going to jinx us into only ever having girls in the future.
Don't put that in the world, chat. Don't do that.
You don't put that in the world, and that's all you're going to do, because if anybody thinks that I'm going to be a better girl mom than a boy mom, you're sadly mistaken. But at the end of the day, he wants it so bad, it's not going to happen. And I'm just saying that because that's how it works.
I always make jokes about it, like, oh, when we have a boy. So it's always like, yeah, you keep saying that, we're just going to have girls.
Yeah. I don't even engage with it anymore because it's just...
She just laughs it.
It's just kind of outlandish because it's not in our control. And as long as when the day comes that we have kids, that they're healthy.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter.
Who was the first one to bring up the first big decision, and what was it? Are you talking like... I'm trying to think of...
Recently or like long term? I would say... I don't know.
Well, probably just like us getting on the same phone plan.
Yeah.
Is something. I think we both kind of knew it was something that we should do as financing wise, and then just as a couple planning for the future.
Yeah.
Are you guys wanting kids anytime soon? No, we do not.
It's not that time yet.
No, we have goals and things that we want to accomplish as, professionals, as a couple, different milestones we want to reach together and separate before having children.
And I've taken on full duty of being an auntie for the near future.
Yep.
And I'll stay in that title until further notice.
Dang, everyone's putting in all this information about how everyone wanted boys ended up with girls.
Yeah.
This ain't good.
Yeah, that stinks for you.
That does, yeah.
We had somebody write in and said, what's each of our biggest goals this year? We kind of talked a little bit about that in episode 7.
Yeah, definitely check out episode 7. We dive pretty deep into what our goals are for 2025.
And also for anybody listening, make sure that you write into our Discord, write into our Instagram, reach out to either of us, send us messages on anything that you want us to talk about. We love setting up our podcast around things that you guys want to hear rather than what our week was and the chaos that we endure on a weekly basis.
Let us know your thoughts. We want to know what you guys are enjoying about the podcast. Tell us things that maybe you're not enjoying or things that we can change or do better, whether it's our lighting, our topics, our microphones, whatever it is. Like we want your input because you all are the reason this is as successful as it is. While we enjoy it, we would do it with no viewers, but we are happy to do it with more and more viewers. And if there's things that we can talk about, change, edit, we would love everybody's input on.
We look kind of bright today.
We do.
That's about it.
But I think that is it for episode 8. What do you think?
Yeah.
But yeah, before we go, make sure you check out both Kenny and I's Instagrams. We have a BK Lounge podcast Instagram as well. Let us know your thoughts. Follow us. For those of you who are listening in Apple or Spotify, a reminder, we film this live every Sunday on our Twitch page, twitch.tv/thebkloungepod. We love you guys a ton. We can't wait to chat with you next Sunday. And thank you for everyone for being here. All the resubscribers, the new subscribers, all the new follows. We can't thank you enough for all of your love and support that you guys show us every single week and in the days in between.
Yeah.
Any last words, Kenneth?
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Y'all be good.
This has been the BK Lounge Podcast with Burt and Kenny. We hope you enjoyed your time diving deep in on wild topics, listening to crazy stories, and hanging out with us. We'll see you next week live on Twitch. Be sure to check out our website for all our social links at www.thebkloungepod.com. Y'all be good now, and we'll see you next time.